So we're here with Fariborz in Los Angeles, and it's great to have you and
Thank
see
you so
you
much.
at your dojo. You've been doing martial arts for so long, and you wrote this great book. I had the pleasure of reading it, and I'm excited about it. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to kind of ask you to share some insights on some of the things that you wrote in the book, and your experience in martial arts for umpteen years.
So, I think for me it's always been, it's about character and competency. And it's who you are and what you can do, right? It's a balance of those two that makes a good person, makes a good martial artist, makes all that. I think there's so much about competency, about so much what we do training martial arts, not a whole lot of character building. So I've gone through many different schools of thoughts like LifeSpring and Psy and Est and Tony Robbins and all these other schools, and I've learned so many lessons, but more experiences. So I made it my job to look for extraordinary experiences in ordinary tasks, like somebody walking in, breathing, like that. In my opinion, that's the first thing we teach the students, 3 years old or 80 years old. First lesson here is you learn is how to breathe, because most people don't know how to breathe correctly. So we teach them how to take a breath. Breathe in, hold it, and out. Do that a few times, and I find that to be the necessity, because without it, you're not gonna be around. So again, we try to do ordinary things or in an extraordinary way. And what better way for me to share some of the experiences of had teaching and training with so many best martial artists in the world. So I made some of those experiences and I put them together. Mainly I did it for my legacy, because it's, my job is to live, to learn, to love, and to leave a legacy. Right? I think I live okay, I love okay, I learn okay, but to leave a legacy, this is what I want my legacy to be. So I did it selfishly. I didn't do it because of, for money or for fame or anything like that. I literally did it because that's what I wanted to be my legacy.
Yeah, and you've been helping share and mold minds for a long time, bodies, and one thing I found very interesting is the difference, and maybe you can expand on this, the difference between a customer, a client, and a student.
Yeah. So nobody comes here in the beginning to become a student. You're a customer. And something about customer is that you buy something, you pay for something, you receive it. And customer is always right. So we go out of our way to make sure you're right. Whatever you want, we take care of. After you've been here for a while, we know what we want is a little bit of personal relationship. You become a client, which means there's a little bit more give and take back and forth. But only after a few years, you become a student. The major reason between them is that, I'll give you an example. If there is trash on the floor, a customer would come and look at it, come to me and complain. Oh, there's a piece of trash. A client would pick it up, then come to me and say, you know what, I picked this up. So I just want to let you know. A student would just put it in the trash, won't even let me know. That's basic difference, So.
And then you also talk about what's the difference between
a coach, instructor, and a teacher.
And a teacher.
Well, it's about. I gotta pull the student in, let him come in. Hold on, wait. So keep going. It's okay. Like this was important because he wanted his phone here, but he's classy enough that he's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna stand out there.
Thank you.
There
You're welcome. Bye. And that's a part of the SWAT, right? I consider that a student, because if it was a customer, he would have walked right in. Doesn't matter what. He wants his phone. Gonna come. Client, student. He almost left. It's like they're filming. I'm not gonna go in there. He's 14 years old, so his phone is the most important thing in the world for him. But to have that distinction for him, that's cool. Like when I'm done with this interview, I'm gonna text the dad. I'm gonna say congratulations. That was pretty cool for him to say that, do that. Anyway, so in my opinion, coach is someone who learns by YouTube. Basically, you try to see what I want to teach tonight. That's the wording of a coach. What do we want to do tonight? Instructor makes people do things, motivation, all this stuff. A teacher's job is to set you up so you learn something 6 months from now. Instructor and coach wants immediate gratification. They want you to go, oh, good job, high five, you know. A teacher might put you in pain right now, set you up for something, but in 6 months you'll have an aha moment. You'll have oh, that's what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
So a teacher works on setting you up for success versus a coach, you know, wants the immediate thing. An instructor wants it, you know, kind of quickly, wants acknowledgement back, you know. And so that's the difference between the three. So I'm always thinking, what am I going to do so it has a long-term effect? We train to last. We don't train to get a black belt.
Mm-hmm.
We train because it feels good. I love training. No, I don't want people. I want to love black belt. Black belt to me literally means nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's about, you know, it's about being a good person, and black belt means literally nothing to me. You know, somebody comes and says, it's just like Sensei Benny always said. People always come by here. Oh, I'm 10th degree. I mastered this. Sensei Benny very politely says, "Stop. I understand. What have you mastered in your life?"
Mm.
And 9 out of 10 will shut up and to go, what have you mastered? Or if they want to say something, like give advice, he'll go, with all due respect, how many years of actual training have you had in this subject you're going to give me advice on before you give me an advice?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, please save your breath. Very politely. And I love that about him.
Mm.
And he says that with such grace, you know. And that's what it comes down to, you know. If you don't have, you want to say something, you better have experience in that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Don't tell me your opinion unless you can prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway,
And a lot
that's
of
the teacher's job.
yeah, and a lot of times you got to give time,
Oh yeah.
right, to get good at something, to start. Like even though the term sensei means one who has gone before.
Yeah.
So to understand well, as a sensei, you can share with that student on how to get through their kind of challenges and, and battles,
Yeah.
because you know, perseverance, dedication, determination, they're all great words,
Yeah.
but they're very difficult, especially in today's digital day and age where
Absolutely.
everybody wants quick gratification.
Right.
So can you share with our audience here on some tools that they could possibly use when they want to quit something, or it's just the same old, or they've been doing it for so long? Is there some kind of things that you look into in terms of either yourself or helping your students understand?
Well, you know, the concept of check-in, we want the students to come in and stop for a second and check in. What does that mean? I'm going to ask myself 3 questions. Where am I? What am I doing? Is it real? So when we bow, that's what we're doing. Where am I? What am I doing? Is it real? If one of those is missing, then I'm not in the moment, you know? So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I want to make sure I check in. You know what I mean? I want to make sure. Like, I could have easily sat on that side, right? But for me, again, where am I? What am I doing? Is it real? I'm going to look at the entrance, right? Just, you know, that's the way I was, you know, brought up, and I was trained. And when I go to a restaurant, I still do the same thing, because I check in. I walk into a place, I'm not panic. Oh my God,
Right,
nothing.
right.
Just, hey, let's check in. Where am I? Or if I get in an argument with my wife, let's make sure which role am I arguing with. What are my roles? What are my goals in each role? Right? I don't mix them. You know, I don't need to give lecture. I don't need to, you know, I'm not right. You know what I mean? You just have to know your strengths and weaknesses. You know what I mean? I'm not a life coach. I'm not gonna pretend to be a life coach. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna give people. If I don't know something, honest the truth, I tell people. I have many challenges. Students come to me, and they have asking me a question. I tell them I have no experience in that. But if you want for me to tell you what, in theory, what I think you should do, I will. But I absolutely have no experience in that, and that makes people respect me a lot more, rather than me making shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm going to tell you about perseverance, and you know, he's sitting in front of me telling me his son is in a hospital, you know, and he's dying, you know, but I'm not going to give him advice.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
sometimes you got to be, you know.
Yeah.
So again, where am I? What am I doing? So I think that's the biggest thing I would do, is to always check in before we do anything and make sure I give it my all. right? And my life doesn't start Monday. My life starts right now, right? And I'm constantly investing my time, you know.
Well, thank you for taking your time
No problem.
out with me doing this.
Yeah, a pleasure.
It's wonderful coming out here to Los Angeles and meeting
Yeah.
with you and you openly sharing your knowledge. So
Yep.
thank you for that, sir.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Good, so.